name's Ken Wharton. I'm a former soldier, and although my time in the army was such a small part of my life, it's had quite a significant effect upon it. I did 2 tours of Northern Ireland in the 70s, and when I came out of the army in 1973, I saw reports every day, every week in the newspapers, on the television, of how my former comrades were being killed and injured in Northern Ireland. And I resolved that one day I would tell the story, but from our perspective.
Were you ever scared?
Shitless, for the want of a better word. At times, very, very frightened. Adrenaline kept you going a lot of the time. A lot of the time you were just so tired anyway, you were just walking zombies.
You tell me a soldier that were never scared on service in Northern Ireland. I think anybody who, any ex-soldier who served anywhere in Belfast, Londonderry, or even the border countries, they were always in danger all the time. And yeah, I certainly was scared, yeah. Especially on my first tour, I was only 19. And in '74, when you were out patrolling, you were constantly hearing gunfires and gun battles, and you know, you just wondered what you were getting yourself into.
Here we are in Northern England, and this is so like the Lower Falls Road in Belfast. It is so like the New Lodge. It is so like the Republican Ardoyne area. And I look around, and had I been walking up this street 30-odd years ago, I'd be looking across at the Ginnel over there. I'd be looking for bricks that had been removed from the walls so an IRA gunman could take a pot shot at us. I'd be looking at the windows where a house might have been taken over by an IRA gunman who would then fire shots at us in the street. If you saw like a can in the street, as you can see on the floor there, you had to be very careful. There might be a small device concealed in there. You had to be constantly alert, constantly aware, because the squaddy that switched off was a squaddy that was shot, and he was a squaddy that was going home in a body bag.
An old tramp come across a small pocket radio on a wall outside a bookmaker's on Castle Street in Belfast. And he made the fatal mistake of turning the radio on, and it was totally disintegrated, the fella. It just totally blew him up to bits. Now that actual radio, from what we can gather, was left for a routine foot patrol which was operating in the area. So if one of the lads had picked that up, it'd have been, again, another dead soldier.
We were attending the Brigadier's prayers. We happened to be making our way down into Belfast for these. I noticed a figure come out of the long grass at the end of the motorway because you had to slow down. He stood there in full view and opened up with what later we found out was to be a Thompson machine gun. I'd immediately braked hard, handbrake turned and done a 360, which put the back of the vehicle towards the gunman. The escort up at the back, who was a pioneer chap who was actually been in the French Foreign Legion and was entitled to wear his French Foreign Legion parachute wings, he shouted down to my boss, "Boss, the guy's dropped the gun and he's running, what should we do?" And my boss just shouted back at him, "Take him out." The pioneer escort took one shot and the bloke dropped.
Yes, it wasn't the pitched battles of the Reichswald Forest and Normandy. It wasn't the mass orchestrated slaughter of the Somme. But it was a war, and it was a war against an implacable enemy. An enemy that started off, you know, as just like amateurs with old World War I weapons. And by the time the conflict was finally resolved, the IRA, the INLA, and all the other paramilitary forces that we were fighting were very well equipped. They were professional, and they were good at doing the thing they did best, and that was killing us.
I don't believe it is all over. I believe it's just something that's simmering underneath and will erupt again pretty soon.